I find it weird that this soon after that you're writing a book dissing your former boss, basically, and leaving the party.
Yeah, that's odd. Okay, I'm in.
All right, we got about 30 seconds till the show kicks off.
Fan-dang-tastic.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our outstanding producer, Mr. Aaron Zommers, on the board. It is 6 past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, and it is
Hump Day.
There you go. Made it to the middle of the week. The camel is along. That is fantastic. Zommers, how are you?
Doing well. It's good to be here on State Street. Things are a little hazy in Madison today.
Purple
around
haze,
the
not
state.
purple haze. Yeah, the wildfires just won't quit up there in Canada, and so the smoke's coming down. That makes the haze. Weather advisories or clean air, air quality advisories. I'll get it right yet. Are in effect for many parts of the state. And so if you're someone who suffers from respiratory type of issues, either stay in or maybe wear a mask. But I think it's supposed to clear out sometime tomorrow.
Well, you know what they say, Todd.
What do they say?
Smoke them if you got them.
Well, they're doing that in Canada, unfortunately. It's not good at all up there in Canada. Big show today. Pat Kreitlow is going to be along in just a second. He is in the green room right now getting his television makeup on. But he doesn't need it. That's how good looking Pat Kreitlow is. He doesn't need makeup. Of course,
Everyone needs makeup on TV.
You can hear him every morning from 6 until 9 across the Civic Media Radio Network. Also, we have a What's Worse for you in hour 2. That'll be fun. What's worse, wide awake in the middle of the night or oversleeping? That's a timely question indeed for our next guest in just 1 second here. Actually, both of them, right? Also, Trygve Olsen, who normally comes in at this point in the show, is going to be here coming up in hour number 2 because he has a meeting. So he'll be along. Senior advisor at the Lincoln Project, former Republican like myself, is going to be here, talk a little politics, Packer news. In this Pride Month, I know our regular listener, Joe, brought this up earlier, have a cut from Vince Lombardi, one of the early people in the state of Wisconsin, standing up for people on the Packers team and saying, look, I'm not going to tolerate this. Anybody who wants to pick on someone for who they love, basically. So we'll hear it from always great to hear Vince Lombardi's own words in that iconic voice. So that's coming up in hour 2 as well. But first, well, you know what, Zommers, first before so the folks on the 12th floor, so the lawyers don't get disappointed. I suppose the first thing we should do is our statewide contest. That's right. It is time once again for the Scotty. See, if I just would make it up, it'd be better. The Scotty Summer Text to Win contest. Let's go.
And it's 2 bare feet on the dashboard. Young love and an old Ford. Cheap shades and a tattoo and a yoo-hoo. Bottle on the floorboard. Perfect song on the radio. Sing along, cause it's one we know. It's a smile, it's a kiss, it's a sip of wine. It's summertime.
Okay, JB kicking you off for summertime. It's going to feel more like summer today across Wisconsin. The sun's coming out, at least here in downtown Madison. Time once again to play the Summer Scotty Text to Win contest. This is fantastic. By the way, joining me at the desk right now, he may have to take over based on my hoarse voice. The producer, the brand new producer of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow here on the network from 6 until 9, our very own Parker Olson. Parker, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I know you are. We're going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But I know you do this on Pat's show in the morning now as well with the tickets.
Oh, yeah.
And
Scotty?
this is great. Have you been? Well, of course not. It's been your first week. We got to get you down to AmFam Field to the fantastic club level brewer seats.
Luke keeps reminding me. He keeps telling me, "Have you looked at the Brewer schedule yet?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry."
You should. They're such good seats.
We'll get you down there.
That's what the people say.
So yes, the people say that. So this contest, you can either win a set, a pair, a deuce of brewer tickets, or as in this hour, a $100 bill of Benjamin Franklin is up for grabs. Download the Civic Media app, your Apple or Android device. Open it up, the Civic Media app. The first 11 stations are where you will find us. Click on one of those. Then in the lower right-hand corner, it'll say text. Click on that. Going to give you a word in a second and text that word in. Up for grabs this hour, a $100 bill. And then everybody gets entered in for our 2 grand prizes at the end of the 2-week contest. Either a beautiful Baraboo Dells area vacation getaway or a Door County getaway as well. And we're going to give you gas money to get there.
You know the best part of the contest, though?
It's statewide.
You're right.
It is statewide. And we've heard now, well, we cannot confirm this, the Door County getaway may come with a pint of cherry bounce. So
that would be most excellent.
Big if true, as the kids say. Big if true. All right, here we go. Time now for our word of the hour. Open up your Civic Media app. The word of the hour is pack. P-A-C-K. Pack. Go, pack, go. The word is pack. Text the word pack. P-A-C-K. P-A-C-K. Spell it correctly because the computer will not choose you if you don't spell it correctly. So the word is pack, P-A-C-K. All right, let's bring on the aforementioned host of the Pat Kreitlow Show. No, it's the mornings of Pat Kreitlow, live from his beautiful Lake Wissota studios, where he was so kind as to host us last week up there. It is absolutely gorgeous, as is the host himself, Mr. Pat Kreitlow. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. The sun is out. The haze, the smoke is less than it was earlier in the day. It doesn't smell quite so much like Canada. And so we're getting back to summer on Lake Wissota. I like that.
Me too. Absolutely. Well, we brought on your brand new producer here because timely indeed. Of course, I am a alum of UW Platteville. And when I was there, our arch enemy in sports was UW Whitewater. And here now, your wonderful new producer, Parker, is a recent alum. He has his UW Whitewater Warhawk shirt on.
Yeah.
Zommers, there's
What are you
big
trying to make
news
this out to be like Reagan and Gorbachev here all of a sudden? Is that what this is?
No, because this is what they're playing down in Whitewater right now.
Parker's congratulating himself right now.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
All right,
Matt.
Parker, give us the big news from UW Whitewater.
UW Whitewater baseball has beaten Messiah. They are now the national champions in
Holy
Division
smokes.
3. I'm so happy. I cannot tell you how happy I am.
This is big. The national championship for Division 3 baseball, and the Warhawks have done it.
They've done it, and it's really impressive too in Division 3 because Division 3 is massive. There's like 300 teams in Division 3, whereas in D1 it's like 170 maybe. So you got to beat a lot of people to get here, and Whitewater did it with just blew them out.
It was 21-5.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I would argue it wasn't that close.
Really? Because they scored
Late.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very impressive. Whitewater all season they were just smoking the ball. They had 111 home runs this year in 55 games.
Wow.
Which is not normal.
No,
This is
no,
an
not at
incredible
all.
senior class that they've got.
And Whitewater, I think Jimmy Kuska, our sports director, said this before. I think there was one other season, correct me if I'm wrong, where Whitewater was national championships in football, men's basketball, and baseball.
That's the only school that's ever done that in any level. Yeah. They're
incredible.
The only ones that have done that. Yeah. And it's just, there's such a legacy. They call it powered by tradition is the motto there for athletics. And they have really stuck to that. And they just keep on going with it. John Vodlich is the head coach there at UW Whitewater baseball. And I think he's been there for maybe 20 years and he's over 800 wins now in his career. He's just an incredible coach, which is very common for a lot of these teams in Whitewater.
Who's
Pat,
it that you beat again? Who did you beat?
Messiah,
Out of where?
Pennsylvania, I believe.
Okay.
I believe.
I'm showing my age. All I can picture is Edward G. Robinson in the Ten Commandments. As the
Yeah.
Pharaoh going, "Where's the Messiah now?" It's clearly at the losing end of that baseball game. I'm in no way minimizing
I
this
mean,
wonderful
think about this.
achievement. No.
Think about this. Whitewater did something that that Satan couldn't do in 40 days and 40 nights. Beat Messiah.
Wow. See, I wasn't going to go that far, but Todd Allbaugh always will. So
Absolutely.
no,
Anything for a
I
joke.
understand the feeling of pride. Todd and others had to put up with me happy about Western Michigan winning the Division I men's hockey title, even though my connection is through a son-in-law who works for the team. So
That's pretty good.
It's about as flimsy as Parker's is, but in both cases, we have a lot of pride in these schools when they get all the way and become best in the nation. So congratulations, Parker. It's all on you. You did it, buddy.
Thank you,
did it.
Pat. I willed this into existence. They were national runner-ups last year, and I was so upset because they just ran out of pitching. And this year, the pitching was so good, the bats were so good. I'm so happy. Pat.
Well, you're a big sports guy, and you
Oh,
were
yeah.
editor of the paper there, right?
Yeah, I was the editor of the paper this last year. The year before, I was a managing editor, and I spent 2 years as a sports editor leading up to that.
So you probably covered some of these games.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I had back in Whitewater at 91.7 The Edge is our student radio station.
Mm-hmm.
I created a show called Warhawk Talk. It was all just Warhawk sports with all the student media guys covering sports. It was a lot of fun.
Look at that, Pat. What a deal.
I was not told any of this when he came on board as my producer. I was told he was basically going to push some buttons and pick up my dry cleaning now and then. And now I find out that
That would
there's
be a
all this
legislative staffer, Pat.
all of this talent going on. It's
Well, you
amazing.
do get the 6 a.m. version of me, Pat. This is the
That's
2 p.m.
true.
version of me. This is
Yeah.
much more lively.
This really
As
is.
you
This really is like sugar-free Red Bull over there in that cup, as we were
But
discussing
Pat,
this morning.
you have your buddy come on, former athletic director at UW Eau Claire, and
Dan
these Division
Schumacher,
Three.
yep.
Dan Schumacher, thank you. These Division Three teams, they mean so much to our communities all
yes.
over Wisconsin.
Oh, it's huge for all the titles that Dan helped provide for UW Eau Claire over all those years, and especially for Division III schools, which, again, we are awash in them here in Wisconsin. And that's a good thing. It means in all the various communities, you get these hometown teams. And when they excel like this, I mean, you can't help but puff up a little bit with pride, because no matter what Division III team does it, if it happens here, like a wise man once told me, it's a great day to be a Wisconsinite.
It is absolutely is, and I think this does a lot for recruitment. I mean, they're on. Well, was it Parker? Do they have some sort form of TV coverage with this, and then a little bit of radio, but you get the school is promoted on this, and it, like Pat says, it just gives you a lot of school pride and boosts the spirits of the university.
Well, you mentioned earlier the trifectas when they won basketball, baseball, and football in the same season. That was massive for Whitewater because that was like in the New York Times because they were the first team that's ever done that in the same year. I forget what the number is, but they said it brought in like millions to the city economy.
I mean, I was at Platteville when Bo Ryan was the head coach there before he went to Milwaukee for a couple of seasons, then ultimately to UW-Madison. And I really feel, Pat, that Bo Ryan did more for recruitment at Platteville, putting on the map, than almost anything else.
Oh, absolutely. And I always love when UW-Madison, hires from, Green Bay or some of the other schools as well. You keep it in the state, and it just seems like the natural way to build loyalty in a couple of different Wisconsin communities. I just think this is a great thing overall. I'm really happy for Parker and everybody at Whitewater.
Absolutely. So Park, who was the coach that was Leopold, right? Lance
Yeah,
Leopold.
Lance Leopold, yeah.
Maybe Wisconsin should have hired him instead of Luke Fickle.
Well, he's at Kansas now, so he's definitely the right caliber, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing well. Again, congrats, Parker. We appreciate you, and thanks for coming on. It was your
Thanks
end
for
of
having
your
me.
day, and he'll be back with Pat in the morning at 6 a.m.
See you bright and early, Pat.
All righty.
Stay tuned. Pat and I are going to talk a little politics. Breaking news from Democrats, or at least a prominent one thereof. It's the Allbaugh Show for a Wednesday across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Madison's real news and great conversation.
Yeah, it was fun.
92.7 WMDX.
Why'd I go to the doctor?
Now Parker could go to sleep.
Now, yes. Now I will. Actually, yes. Probably go straight to sleep, take a nap, and then go to my cousin's baseball game.
Oh, that's funny. Good for you. Thank you for
Pat,
doing that.
I want you to know that from the second you said, "Where's your Messiah now?" I spent the entire rest of the segment trying to find that, and I couldn't in time.
Oh, I pulled it up. I pulled it up right away. Now it's gone. Let me go see if I can find it.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You said you pulled it up?
Cool casual dining, indoor
Maybe I
golf,
just didn't know where to look.
space for events,
Maybe I'm
craft
just a fool.
cocktails and non-alcoholic drinks too. A hidden gem on Madison's
Oh, you know what? That was
East
Billy
Side.
Crystal
Line Shot
doing an
Social
impression
Club,
of Edward
open
G.
to everyone.
Robinson.
Right, I found that. I found that.
It's
see.
time for Civic Media's Scotty Summer Text to Win contest right here on this local Civic Media radio station. We want to hook you up with $100 cash, Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets, and the chance to win a summer getaway to the Wisconsin Dells area or an escape to Door County. Download the free Civic Media app in the Google Play or App Store. Then listen in for the keywords during the 7 and 11 a.m. hour and 2 and 4 p.m. hour. Text in the keyword and get set to win. It's Civic Media's Scotty Summer.
You know Ignite Glass and Gifts 3 locations in Madison.
That wasn't
but
it
you can
either.
also shop
No.
IgniteGlassandGifts.com. You'll find grinders, lighters, collectibles, hand-blown glass water pipes, artistically designed jewelry, and plenty of other items delivered straight to your door or to family and friends. Madison's favorite for glass, gifts, and vape. Ignite Glass and Gifts. Monona Drive, Williamson Street, and Odana Road. Plus IgniteGlassandGifts.com.
Everybody wants the same thing from their mattress. A good night's rest, am I right? You need someone to listen to what you want and who knows the materials that will get you there. At Verlo, we're your friendly neighborhood mattress genius. American made, locally crafted. Welcome to Verlo.
Is getting vaccinated on your to-do list?
Alrighty.
We can help you check that off. You've got this.
About 20 seconds.
Yes,
Thank
you do.
you.
See how we've got you.
Across Lake Wissota. Is that steam rising off of the water? No, it's just Pat Kreitlow typing furiously every morning to bring you the freshest and best news all across the state, 6 until 9. Mornings of Pat Kreitlow. Make sure you tune in. Great program. I was honored to be on today.
You
It was
were?
fun.
Oh, yeah, you were.
Yes,
Yes.
it was. Pat's like, we got 10 more minutes to fill. Bring Allbaugh on. It'll be good for a couple of
you impressed me. You impressed me a lot
Really?
with your coffee knowledge. I mean, I knew you had
Oh, yeah.
coffee experience, but you were, as I said this morning, you're my new coffee Sherpa. You're going to be
Thank you.
leading me, guiding me to the proper beans, not the one with a black and a sheen, right?
No, the shiny, dark black color that everybody markets says, stronger or whatever. It's all marketing. You want a brown matte finish, and that's higher quality coffee. But no, I learned from the best. Alejandro Mendez, one of the world barista champions, the first one from a coffee producing country from El Salvador in 2011. And also Danny Mendez, no relation. And they were some of the best of the best. And so I've bet on several coffee farms and feel honored. So I got my info from people a heck of a lot smarter than me.
You are our Juan Valdez right here.
Yes, that's
Bringing
exactly.
you and your burro coming down the mountainside with your beans, the right beans for you and me. I love it.
I'm known as the Juan Valdez of Civic Media because many people view me as a donkey's ass. So that's why.
Now you're being redundant here. So.
All right, Patrick, some serious news coming out of Washington in the last hour or so. You are a former Wisconsin Democratic state legislator. I would like your take on this. Karine Jean-Pierre, according to CNN, who served as White House press secretary under former President Joe Biden, has switched her party affiliation to independent, according to a publishing company's description of her forthcoming book. Jean-Pierre, who has worked in Democratic politics for decades, is set to release a new book that she will discuss Biden's decision to bow out of the 2024 election and encourage voters to look beyond the two-party political system. Before I say anything, what's your take on this?
Well, I hadn't heard about it until a few minutes ago, so I've just been reading a little bit about the announcement of the book, her decision to become an independent instead of a Democrat. But she also hints at a betrayal by the Democratic Party about the decision by the president to step out of the race for re-election. So it may be less with her frustration. People are saying, well, maybe she's not a Democrat. It is, as you know, very possible to be a Democrat and not a fan of the Democratic Party, said somebody who ran for Congress once and will never, ever, 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 ever have a kind thing to say about the DCCC. So yes, I understand where she may be coming from on this. But having said that, when you work at the White House and then, within months, you're turning around and announcing a book deal, you have the right to do that. But understand that it will come with deservedly savage attacks from those who see you as somebody who may have just been faking it all along. And yes, one can be loyal to a fault. We're certainly finding that with the Trump administration right now. But it just puts a bad taste in people's mouths when somebody you worked with very closely in the trenches says, I'm writing a tell-all and I'm teasing you that I'm not going to hold back. It really takes away from whatever esprit de corps once existed.
Yeah, this is all breaking, and so Bill McCoshen, former Tommy Thompson Secretary of Commerce here in Wisconsin and longtime political operative in Wisconsin, and he tweets out that these are our direct lines in the book. I'll take Bill at his word. I haven't obviously sussed this out myself, but saying that Jean Pierre claims that she, quote, never saw or spoke to Biden, unquote, quote, I was given talking points to parrot each day, unquote. And then another chapter 3, how we got the media to defend and protect our secret, unquote. I don't know, Pat. If this turns out to be accurate, it just rubs me the wrong way.
It does. And I will also admit to being concerned about, again, what all was happening in the Biden White House. You've got this Jake Tapper tell-all book that is really troubling to some people. And I frankly, I don't know how else to put this. I'm looking forward here. Not that there wasn't concern, but again, we're talking about a president and a presidency that was more consequential than pretty much anything else in our lifetimes. You have to go back to FDR to find as much good that was done by, oh my gosh, an imperfect person and an imperfect administration. I guess I can't claim to be shocked that not everything went perfectly in an administration that did so well, compared to an administration where they do have unwavering loyalty and are doing things that are absolutely, and I'm using no hyperbole here, destroying the fabric of our country. So I guess I'm frying some bigger fish, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't hardly talked about it on this show very much at all because I'm like you. I said I want to move forward, and most of the people, Biden certainly isn't going to run for anything ever again, and most of the people in his inner circle are probably never going to be involved in major national politics ever again as well. So
Right.
I'm more interested in moving forward, but this Jean Pierre book, I don't know. It's just, I guess I'm pointing the finger back at myself, and when I left my party in 2011 over Act 10 and voter rights issues, I didn't go to the publisher or try to cash out. I ended up being a lead witness in a federal lawsuit against Scott Walker. So,
But look at you now. You got all this coffee knowledge. You got a mid-afternoon radio show. You are one of the most influential voices in Wisconsin media at this point.
I know, not
and
really.
later, you can tell us which is better, as Jeff puts on Facebook, Maxwell House Folgers or Brim decaffeinated. You can handle these weighty topics because you are who you are.
The weighty topics indeed. None of those, Jeff. Buy yourself some Wonder State coffee. That's what you need to do. You don't need coffee. All you need is Pat Kreitlow. It's mornings at Pat Kreitlow, 6 until 9. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
You betcha. See ya.
All right, talk to you later, Pat. Stay tuned. It's more news headlines and a quick trip inspired marathon. We'll explain on the other side. It's the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
Boom.
Thank you. Patrick.
Conversation.
You're welcome. Do you guys not bring up like full screen slides anymore? We get to see all the sausage being made all the time for all the breaks now.
What? No.
Didn't you guys used to bring up like a full page so we can't see you during the commercial breaks?
No,
wild.
I'm the one show that doesn't do that.
Yeah, we made one, and we've used it
that.
There
on
it is.
a handful
Yeah.
of occasions when, like, I don't know, private discussions being had. We don't want people reading lips.
I'm always of better the opinion. Like, we have people that watch this just
You
just
you
because
two
of
have a
that.
secret show. I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so
Exactly.
it's like I leave the lights on.
Then I feel like we're in a race. Which one's secret show will get them fired first? So I'm happy
it
to
might
be in
be
that
us.
competition there with you, buddy.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
mean-
like leave the mics on, leave the cameras on, let people see what goes on.
Bill S. on YouTube says, I wish you did. You wish we did what?
Well, we'll find out.
That's cryptic. Yeah, well, I'll leave on that note. All right. See you guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Warm up with a big rainstorm and it runs off the frozen ground, or maybe it's spread on a snow-covered field and then runs off during a spring thaw, things like that. So, the causes can vary widely, and many of them you can't anticipate.
Nathan Nye, fisheries biologist with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. He says by law in Wisconsin, any spill must be reported to the DNR's emergency line. All agricultural livestock operations, regardless of size, must report manure spills or runoffs that could affect our natural resources. The 24-hour spill hotline, 800-943-0003.
The Classic Green Reunion comes to Wisconsin June 12th through the 14th in West Bend. This year's event showcases Model B and industrial tractors, Waterloo boy engines, and even drills. Come for the tractors and equipment and stay for the tours, vendors, camaraderie, and a good old-fashioned Wisconsin fish fry. To see event details or to register for tours, visit classicgreen.org. The Classic Green Reunion, June 12th through the 14th in West Bend. See you there.
When hot weather strikes your cattle, milk production drops and feed intakes decrease. Summer heat also impacts the quality of your herd's reproduction. Protect your cows and grow your bottom line. Add BioVet's Bovine Gold Light to your cow's daily ration. Bovine Gold Light keeps the herd hydrated, maintains milk production, and keeps your breeding program in check. Learn more about Bovine Gold Light at bio-vet.com.
Innovation, that's BioVet.
And yesterday, the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act of 2025 passed out of the Senate Agriculture Committee. It allows schools to offer whole and 2% milk as well as flavored options. Now, dairy groups are asking that leadership in both the House and Senate schedule action on the bill quickly. That is a look at food news for Wednesday. I'm PM Yankee.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
We are going to have a little more of that Canadian wildfire smoke in the air into this afternoon, but it's actually going to get better here later today and into later this week. Sky will clear out, high in the mid to upper 70s today. Tonight, clear, low 50s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high in the upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 72.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Matt Miller, a Milwaukee-based film critic. The film Sinners, the more distance I have from it, the more I liked it. Is that an Oscar film?
I think there is a love for what Sinners is doing, that a studio movie was this interesting and creative and thoughtful, but also entertaining. This is not the last you will hear about Sinners this year. I'd be shocked if it doesn't get a Best Picture nomination.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
When a parent sees their child smile, they see hope. Aleem hoped that his son Rajib would have an easier life than he had. You see, Rajib, just like his father, was born with a cleft. But thanks to Smile Train, both father and son received free, life-changing surgeries.
Wherever you may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is 35 minutes now past the hour 2 o'clock on this Wednesday, Hump Day, June 4th, 2025. Glad to have you along. Zomer's right on top of it, reminding me in my haze and purple fog and sinus medication. I feel like though today I'm slightly better, Zombers.
I think so. I would say so. From an outside perspective.
Did my voice sound a little better? Not quite
and
so
also,
stuffy.
your brain seems less foggy. As somebody who frequently has what I would describe as brain fog, it's not intended as a slight in any way.
As someone who has to frequently deal with me who constantly has brain fog, I get it. No, I'm thinking that maybe this rain and the winds kind of help get some of this pollen out of the air.
Probably.
And the smoke. So hope all of you are hanging in there with all these allergies and allergy season as well. But you reminded me, we are smack dab in the middle of our Scotty Summer Text to Win contest, up for grabs this hour. A crisp, clean $100 Benjamin Franklin bill. $100 up this hour on the Text to Win contest. You have to do it. Enter via the Civic Media app. You can download it for free at your Apple or Android device at your app store. Then open it up. First 11 stations are the news, talk, sports stations that we are on. Click on the one nearest to you, or any of them will do. And then in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a little icon that says text. Click on that. Now, text the following word right now. The word is pack. P-A-C-K, as in go, pack, go. P as in Paul, A as in apple, C as in cat, K as in kite. Pack is the word right now. Text it on the Civic Media app. And somebody this hour, only the people that are entering this hour, that's all you're competing against, somebody's going to win $100. Then everybody is eligible for one of our two fantastic grand prizes, a couple of summertime getaway, one to the Bear Boudels area, the other beautiful Door County, Wisconsin. And we're going to give you a gas card to fill up your tank and get you back.
And you can keep listening every day this week and next, every weekday this week and next at 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., which is the one you really want to listen to, and 4 p.m.
That's right.
For more words. And also I hear, so at 11, Tom Hartman plays across the network.
Yes, he does.
I hear that if we get more contest entries over these 2 weeks than Tom Hartman, he personally has to fly himself out to Wisconsin and dejectedly hand you your $100 bill in person.
Really? I had not heard that part of it. I had not heard that part of it at all. But no, Hartman we send his word to him by carrier pigeon. So that's the way that works. But yeah, you can listen and you can enter in all those shows that Zomer said and have your chance to win. So the word right now is pack, P-A-C-K. Enter right now on the Text to Win contest. Talking before the break, by the way, many thanks to Pat Kreitlow of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, 6 until 9 every morning across the network, and Parker Olson, the producer of the show thereof. Congratulations again to UW Whitewater baseball team for capturing the national championship just about an hour or so ago.
Robert and McFarland text in, tell us the bloody word. We did. It is pack.
Yes.
P-A-C-K. If you win the grand prize vacation, you're going to have to pack up your things and have a good time.
We'll give you the bloody word, Robert. We give it to you. We're trying to be helpful. People don't like it when I build it up, but I think it's I think it's kind of funny, and B, I'm just like I like to make sure we walk people through,
right,
so they know how to do it.
Exactly.
So anyway, before the break, we were talking about this. Speaking of breaking news, Karine Jean-Pierre, former Biden administration press secretary, is announcing she's leaving or has left the Democratic Party now. Guess what? She's hawking a new book. Already, I mean, the guy hasn't been out of office 4 months, and she's already got a book about it. And I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. As Pat said, we haven't spent a lot of time on the Jake Tapper book on Biden. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. But this, to me, is, in some ways, I guess I'll use the word worse. Tapper is a media guy, and I don't know. To have someone from the inner circle already writing a book being critical of the place she was getting her paycheck from.
Right. It seems like she would have been a good source for the Tapper book,
right,
or things like it. But leaving the party and writing your own book really just comes off. Yeah.
Or if you think things are really that bad when you're in the moment,
Say
step away
something.
then. I mean, I left the Republican Party in 2011, and I'm not saying necessarily things in the Biden administration were as egregious as what I witnessed in the state Republican Party, but when I saw things that didn't add up, that were counter to what I believed in terms of voting rights, I stepped away then. And I stopped going. I kept working for my boss, doing things like constituent relations in the district and that sort of thing. But I stopped going to Republican Party meetings, and I just said, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I don't know. It seems to me a little odd. 855-752-4842. Mark in Prairie du Sac. Mark, happy Wednesday to you.
Yeah, and Joe Biden is an older guy, and yes, he probably did have a little bit of hesitation in his speech and all that. That especially since he's been a stutterer his entire life. But let's look at Ron Johnson, who has embarrassed Wisconsin once again by talking about, well, we don't need vaccines because we got hygiene and we got sanitation now, and that's all we need is to combat measles. How the hell does you combat an airborne virus, by sanitation and hygiene? It just doesn't go like that. I mean, that it is just. I mean, that's just one example. I mean, that this anti-vaccine rhetoric that part of the right has adopted is just beyond me, because I'm 67 years old now, but I can remember getting at school getting bussed into Superior from rural Douglas County, bussed into Superior to get shots that we didn't get there at the school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is just. I mean, they went around and they eradicated smallpox, they eradicated polio, they brought measles to its heels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, by the MMR vaccine. I mean, and for this idiot to be saying this kind of stuff. I mean, what kind of competence does the staff have to say that? Actually, caution them. Maybe, Senator, you shouldn't be saying this kind of thing. I mean, his staff should be holding the leash around that man's muzzle to keep his mouth shut. I mean, because he says this stuff and it's just idiotic and it's going to kill people.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Mark. Thank you very much. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842 if you want to join us off of channel3000.com, the Madison CBS affiliate. This is news you can use here in Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation Division of Motor Vehicles issued a warning yesterday about a fresh wave of phishing scams. Now, we're not talking about somebody says, well, I caught the big one and they're scamming you. We're not talking about that kind of phishing. It's phishing with a PH, P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G, as in on predominantly your cell phone. Wisconsin DOT says the scammers are sending texts claiming to be from the DMV in an attempt to get you to click on fraudulent links to turn over personal information. The texts warn of a quote-unquote final notice or a quote-unquote unpaid traffic violation. To me, Zombers, this is just how low can you go?
Yeah, and scams like this have been around since forever, and they were going to keep being around. Ultimately, if you get email, if you get mail, if you get a text or a phone call asking for personal information and saying you're in some kind of dire consequence, the best thing to do is if it's an email or a text or anything, just delete it and then contact the company or the administration that allegedly you have issues with directly via their official number. Like if it's a credit card thing, call the number on the back of your card. Yeah. And if there's no real issue, then you're good. And if there is, you can address it and you're talking to the right people.
I think the main thing here is a legitimate government agency. I was going to say never. I'll say next to never is ever going to reach out in a text on your phone. They're never going to ask you to pay something via the phone. This is why, one of the reasons that I'm still a big believer in snail mail, because state agencies most often are going to send you a letter, a paper letter in the mail with their return address. As Zomer said, within the letter, for more information or with questions, call, and they'll give you a number to call into whatever state agency is trying to get a hold of you. Whether it's a violation of a DMV, whether it's a tax issue with the Wisconsin Department of Revenue, so on and so forth, they're going to say, call us. They're not going to reach out to you.
And if you get a number via text or email or anything that says call us, double check on the company or government administration's website because it could be sending you a fake number.
I really think the best, like as you said earlier, the best thing on these things that come to our phones, just delete them or block the number. Back to this story at Channel 3000, it says a similar wave of scams impacted Wisconsin in late March to early April. DMV Bureau of Driver Services Director Tina Brady said agencies in other states, including Illinois, Florida, and New York, reported an uptick in the scam texts last week. She says, quote, given the number of calls we're getting from DMV customers, it's likely Wisconsin is the next target. We want to protect our residents, so we are quickly issuing this alert to ensure fewer victims fall for these scams, unquote. The DMV urged using caution and being suspicious of texts demanding money. Don't share personal information with someone who sent an unsolicited text or email. Do not respond or engage with links in unsolicited texts or emails. And you can subscribe to the Wisconsin DMV's official e-notify system for account activity alerts and renewal reminders. If you fall for a victim to a scam, consider filing a police report or report the scam to the Federal Trade Commission and IC3, which I have no idea what IC3 is, but that's what the story says. And look, I get it. Sometimes they look really official and they'll badger you. And then you think, oh my gosh, I don't want to get a big fine. I don't want to have my driver's license pulled. And it's very, very confusing for a lot of us. And you don't have to be a quote unquote old person to get confused. There was a Susan Simon, Channel 3000, and one of the anchors at Channel 3 years ago. She got, I'm not sure this type of thing, but she got scammed with, I think it was a utility thing. And she was very public about it. I think Adam Schrager was the reporter at the time at Channel 3 and interview. Susan said, interview me. I want to, it's kind of embarrassing, but I want people to know this so they don't get scammed.
Yes. And the IC3 website for it is ic3.gov. It is the Internet Crime Complaint Center.
Oh, nice.
It is
All right.
It is a good place to report these kind of things.
Cool. Chris, listening in Blue River on WRCE, says, good afternoon, Todd. Is there any chance the scammers have received our information from the DMV? Don't they sell our personal information? Great question, Chris. Last I knew, don't quote me, but last I knew, you can, we as Wisconsinites can opt in or out on, I think it was our taxes or so, or when you get your driver's license renewed, there's in the fine print, you can put either, don't sell my information or sell it. So yes, I think some, not all, but some of our information is public knowledge and people can get that. But B, once again, I think this is just, I don't have science to back this up, but it seems like ever since Elon Musk came to town and his department of doggy, it's already been proven that a lot of our name, address, phone number, this sort of thing has been sold on the dark web. So there's a lot of suspicion. Just use your common sense, use your gut. If it doesn't feel right, do not engage. But engage with us. Come on back. We're going to start talking about this brand new marathon involving Quick Trip and beer. Say what? It's Civic Media's Todd Allbaugh Show.
Reach, engage, grow with Civic Media. Log on civicmedia.us/advertise.
Summer is on at Sugar River Pizza with 3 awesome locations in Sun Prairie, Verona, and New
sounds like
Glarus.
you're clearing
Grab a
stuff
seat
out.
on the
Yeah,
gorgeous patio and enjoy the breathtaking view. Catch live music every Thursday evening at their Sun Prairie location and sip from 48 beers on tap or a glass of your favorite wine. Craving something amazing? The pizza and pasta are melt in your mouth delicious. And yes, they cater. Make it a summer to savor. Only at Sugar River Pizza. SugarRiverPizza.com.
Hey, Gordy.
How you doing?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
Arthur,
Clayton
great to see you. What are you doing in the
Ewenberg.
studio?
Well,
Youngberg.
I need to talk to you
Youngberg.
about
All right,
doing a
thank you.
commercial.
Oh, okay. Well, to get a commercial on the air here, you just go down to the sales department. It's right next to the bathroom.
I don't think you understand.
Oh, I understand plenty. You salespeople drink a lot of coffee. That's why the bathroom's right there.
Right, but I need to have you make a commercial about commercials.
Wait. A commercial about a commercial? I don't follow.
I want to tell potential business owners out there how to contact me to get a commercial on WMDX.
Okay, I get it. Okay, let's come up with something. Let's see. Business folks can contact you directly, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
what's the email, huh?
Okay, so it's sales@WMDXradio.com.
Oh, wait, run that by me again.
Sales@WMDXradio.com. So we could put all that together and get into a commercial, get on the air soon?
Arthur, my friend, I think we just did.
Advertise on WMDX Radio. Email Arthur, sales@WMDXradio.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
The John and Gordy Show.
They have quite a selection of hearing aids. They've got Bluetooth, of course, and AI. We're Android robots.
You've been assimilated into the Borg.
We are into the Borg. Be kind of cool.
The Borg hearing aid. All right.
If they haven't, we should latch onto that. The John and Gordy Borg hearing aid devices at a special discount.
Weekday mornings 6 till 8 on 92.7 WMDX and the Civic Media app. Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Matt Miller, Milwaukee-based film critic. The film centers...
About 30 seconds.
Thank you. Get up and do a little jig, a little polka in the kitchen wherever you're listening to us. If you're in the car, don't stand up. Just keep driving and enjoy. Nothing better than a fine polka. Welcome back 8 minutes before the hour of 3 o'clock. Allbaugh along with Zommers across the Civic Media Radio Network. Coming up in hour 2, Mr. Trygve Olsen. Normally in hour 1 with Patrick, but Trygve's a busy man. He's going to carve out some time in hour 2. Going to join us for a What's Worse edition today. Getting up in the morning or oversleeping. What's worse, wide awake in the middle of the night or oversleeping? We'll discuss that in hour 2. Trygve will talk to us about some happenings out. Well, I should say he's coming to us from D.C. He has a new Substack. We're going to talk about that and discussing some really important issues that Pat highlighted this morning on his show. So we'll talk to Trygve about that. Packers, I'm sure, will ultimately come up and much, much more. Maybe we'll continue on with this story of Trygve as well. He's going to love this, by the way. This is fantastic. And many thanks to our very own Luke Mathers for finding this and putting it on my desk this morning. I love every part about this next story. Comes to us from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and the great reporter J.R. Radcliffe. Says, Wisconsin-themed marathons featuring Culver's, Quick Trip, and beer. Now, right there, you got me. I mean, there's nothing in that headline I don't like. So you had me at hello. Radcliffe writes, quote, Clayton Youngberg's hip could fail him at any moment. In 2018, a brainstem injury robbed him of walking at all. And up until a month ago, Youngberg had almost no footprint on social media. Naturally, that means he's running a marathon a week, eating Culver's cheese curds along the way, and posting his voyages on TikTok and acquiring almost instant viral fame. How about that? I mean, this is a great story of, hey, if something happens to you, you can sit around feeling sorry for yourself, or you can say, hey, how can I make hay of the situation?
Absolutely. And I think he has some really clever ways of doing it.
He really does. Back to the story in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, says the Oconomowoc resident has turned his quest for absurdist feats of exercise into a charming online presence, running more than 30 miles in a roundabout near his home, followed by a Culver's Marathon in which he stopped for cheese curds and ice cream at local branches, and a Quick Trip Marathon where he rehydrated only on items found inside various locations along the route. How about that? And one particularly arduous adventure fueled by brats and non-alcoholic beer. He says there's more to come. Now, that's fantastic. I mean, just how creative is that? You do something that's a little out there, and you get attention, and you build your social media following.
Honestly, I think this guy deserves to be highlighted for what makes Wisconsin great. Hope maybe we can get him to join us on the next tour.
I think he should be on the show. I mean, it's almost like, you might think of like a tournament of quick trips or something like that. Something just off the wall.
Something pretty cool that really fits the vibe of the show.
It really fits the vibe of the show. He says, quote, I've just been doing this for so long off camera. These sorts of ridiculous things, these absurdist feats of exercise. I've been casually running or exercising for 10 years. Believe it or not, I'm not the very first to do the roundabout run. I came across a 7-year-old Reddit post. Reddit is another social media platform for those that might not know. And I was hysterical for about 3 minutes after I read it. I knew I had to do it. I almost left the phone at home, honestly. But I thought this was a good one to share, he says. Though he said he'd been essentially a ghost, quote unquote, on social media up to that point, he decided to try to capture the 777 loops in his roundabout run on April 28th, at which point he created the FFF Wisco, FFF Wisco, that's WISCO, TikTok channel, and other social media platforms. If you want to see this guy, if you're on TikTok, go to FFF Wisco. How about that? So apparently, if you do 777 loops in a roundabout, that is equal to a marathon.
And you have the added bonus of confusing everybody who uses that roundabout, especially if they go there multiple times in a day.
I think I'd get dizzy.
I couldn't do this for numerous reasons.
Well, yeah,
that
for
being
numerous
one of
reasons. That was funny. Back to the story. He says, once a content creator for Android magazine, he had past experiences in the practice, plus a solid knowledge of cell phone recording functions. He says, quote, my gears were turning for fitness content. I just didn't want to be one of a million people posting themselves as experts. This is what you should do. These are 5 things you should do. I needed an angle, he said, and this was right up my alley. He says he didn't do it haphazardly. He studied the rhythms of TikTok to figure out the best way to edit his story. That's genius. He didn't have a presence on Facebook or Instagram, but he knew the videos would work there as well. He admits he had a hunch the roundabout would get attention. He generated buzz thanks to the passers-by noticing him, there he goes, Ummers, as he went on it one day. But it wasn't just a local phenomenon. The roundabout video, get this, has had well over 300,000 views on TikTok alone, getting attention in places like Minnesota and Illinois, in addition to Wisconsin. How about that? I love, as I said, I love every part about this story.
He's a very smart guy doing a very cool thing.
And the fact, I mean, clearly he's had a little bit of practice in camera stuff and socials before, but we'll come back. We'll bring this up with Trygve. See, I think he's going to like this story.
I think so too.
Yeah. Trygve Olsen, what's worse, and talking a little bit about what's happening in the United States of America politically. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show for a Wednesday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A civic media station.
ABC News.
Yesterday, StreamYard wouldn't let me change the order of the cameras. Today, it won't let me put up any banners.
After another hike kicked
Like,
in,
you know, the thing that says we're in a commercial break with the phone number. It worked earlier. Now it won't.
From 25 to 50% today.
I'm going to send them a
ABC's
strongly
Karen
worded
Travers
email.
says another deadline
Thank you,
looms
Susan
for
Collins.
trade deals just over a month away.
The administration continues to negotiate trade deals, and they're saying to trade partners all around the world, give us your best offer. We are 35 days out from the end of that 90-day pause, and the president told me himself, at the end of that, if trade deals are not reached with those countries, the tariffs will go into effect.
President Trump, in a social media post, says he spoke briefly with Russia's Vladimir Putin today and says the Russian leader signaled he will have to respond to Ukraine's recent strikes on Russian military airfields. Trump has since removed that social media post. Nebraska's Governor Jim Pillen signed a measure into law today banning transgender students from girls' sports. Nebraska joins nearly 24 other states that have implemented similar bans. This is ABC News.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. At the Capitol, the clock is running on the next two-year state budget. Democratic Governor Tony Evers and Republican legislative leaders have met twice so far. The two sides are attempting to reach consensus on tax cuts while the Joint Finance Committee works on the budget. If lawmakers do not pass a new budget by the end of June, current spending levels will continue. A drawn-out impasse until late summer or fall would not be welcome by Wisconsin's local governments and school districts. They need to know what their shared revenue and general school aid payments will be for their own budget planning. The last time that happened was in 2007, when then Governor Jim Doyle and Republican lawmakers reached a compromise all the way in October. And small Wisconsin communities with fewer than 7,500 people can hand count ballots in an election. Joanne Krulatz has more.
Under the Wisconsin Elections Commission decision, those communities and all other Wisconsin towns, villages, and cities must still comply with federal law and provide at least one electronic voting machine at a polling location to accommodate voters with disabilities. The Commission's decision Tuesday came in reaction to a complaint against the northwestern Wisconsin town of Thornapple, population about 700, over its decision to hand count ballots in the April 2024 presidential primary or the August state primary. The commission voted 5-1 to dismiss the complaint.
And Senator Ron Johnson is calling for the state to lift its vaccine requirements for kids attending school or child care programs. During an event in Milwaukee, Johnson said he believes some childhood illnesses like measles have been eradicated through better hygiene and sanitation, not just from the vaccine. But of course, we're in the middle of a huge measles outbreak in America. At least 1,000 people have gotten sick in 31 states. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. You're listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
Milwaukee Brewers win again. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kuska filling in for Mike Clemens. Milwaukee defeated Cincinnati 9-1 today to take 2 of 3 games in the series. Jackson Chourio had 3 hits, including a 2-run home run to help spark the Brewers offense.
Speaking of Chourio, fly ball out to right, sending Benson back. He is staring and gone. Jackson Chourio hits his 10th home run of the season. And the Brewers jump out to a 3-0 lead.
That call courtesy of FanDuel Sports Wisconsin. 3 Brewers pitchers combined to allow just 4 hits and 1 run, with Quinn Priester getting the victory. It's the 9th win for the Brewers in their past 10 games. Milwaukee heads back home to play the San Diego Padres starting on Friday. With a 21-5 victory today over Messiah, UW-Whitewater clinched the Division III College Baseball Championship. It's the Warhawks' 3rd title and first since 2014. Tonight is the start of the Stanley Cup Finals between Florida and Edmonton. The NBA Finals begin tomorrow as Oklahoma City takes on Indiana. Filling in for Mike Clemens, I'm Jimmy Kuska with Civic Media Sports.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
We are going to have a little more of that Canadian wildfire smoke in the air into this afternoon, but it's actually going to get better here later today and into later this week. Sky will clear out, high in the mid to upper 70s today. Tonight, clear, low 50s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high in the upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 72.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend.
And then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease. Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend,
since
you need
Trump
a
took
better
over the
friend.
Kennedy Center, ticket sales have plunged by
For free help,
50%,
call 1-800
and membership
quit now.
subscriptions have
A
declined
message
by
from the
36%.
The Maggie
How about
Dawn
that?
Show.
Lily Roberts, she is
It's
from
almost
the
like
Center for
he doesn't know
American
anything about the
Progress
arts.
Action Fund.
They're
Or
trying to
much
pretend
else.
that this bill would be good for the working class because of this really small carve out to our tax laws. The no tax on tips piece does not at all even come close to addressing the problem of wages in this country. You know, a
30
third
seconds.
of
Thank you.
workers who work for tips in the first place don't.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our outstanding producer-engineer, Mr. Aaron Zommers, on the board. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big program on this Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite and Hump Day. How about that? The cable has brought us halfway through the work week. Little still some air quality advisories over much, if not all, of Wisconsin as those wildfires from Canada continue to rage, and it's going to be here around Wisconsin at least through today. The rain that we had overnight and still continuing in parts of Wisconsin is going to help to push that out, and hopefully the pollen as well, as my allergies continue to wreak havoc. I apologize for that, but the sun is out at least partially here, Zommers, in downtown Madison through the smoke.
It sure is. Through the fire and flames, as some may say.
Fire and flames. Very good. Speaking of fire and flames, we bring on our next guest this hour. He usually joins us in hour number 1, but he had a meeting, so he was so kind enough to join us here in hour number 2. Pat Kreitlow was filling the spot alone, but he did a marvelous job. We have Parker Olson, our new producer for Pat's show on today, but now joining us from the wonderful suburbs of our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. No?
I don't see him.
I see him on mine.
Well, I will come in by you.
Seems to be a theme this week. We seem to be having technical difficulties, but never having a difficulty. The one, the only senior advisor at the Lincoln Project, Mr. Trygve Olson. How are you, my friend?
I'm texting. I'm dropping comments in
Lord.
here.
Hang on. Apparently now there's still technical difficulties on our end as you're muted, unless there's something on your end that's muted.
Muted.
We're having this is not Zommer's fault, by the way. The system in which we do this show over the video and audio portion, it's glitchy. As is, by the way, our podcast version of the show.
Oh, no.
Essentially, if you want to see the show in its full proper context, come down to State Street.
Now I can't hear you. I can't see.
Everything will be fine, as it turns out. But can you hear me, Trygve?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Zommers disappeared. It's like total anarchy. I'm texting you. I'm like, Aaron.
No, it wasn't him. It's the computers, Trygve. It's AI. That's the problem.
Aaron, can you hear me?
Yes,
Aaron?
we're good.
Oh, good. All right.
Dale Schultz, my former boss, he'd be traveling around Southwest Wisconsin, where the the service, any cell service, is spotty because of the driftless hills and whatnot. And he'd want to continue the conversation and be cutting in and out. He'd say, Bombay, this is Rangoon. Are you there?
Yeah,
How are you, my friend?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm great now that you're here.
Long
It's been a
time
great
no
show.
talk, Todd. I haven't seen Zommers in forever. We had that other guy. I don't even know who that guy is.
Sam
but-
Davison.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. Sam's going off to make the world a better place by teaching.
He is.
But I'm glad
That's right.
Zommers is back.
Yeah.
Zommers is way better with his choice of music. Particularly when he's taking his tips from
right,
me.
See, because he gets them from Trigby. Yeah, that's right. You're looking very pink today, Trigby. Very, very nice.
No, I got my red hat on.
Oh,
It's not a MAGA hat, though. It's
No,
a
it's a
Wisconsin
Wisconsin
Badger
hat.
hockey hat. And I almost lost it at the rink. I left it at the rink,
really?
but they knew it was mine. So, yeah.
Before we play What's Worse, I want to finish up on the story we started last hour. I think you're going to like this because this comes to us from J.R. Radcliffe from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Clayton Youngberg, who has hip problems. We're going to get into that in a second. But here's a guy who he started running marathons in his roundabout. 777 laps in a roundabout equals a marathon. He did a Culver's marathon where he stopped for cheese curds and ice creams at all the local branches around Wisconsin. And then he did a Quick Trip marathon in which he only rehydrated using items found inside various Quick Trip locations on his route. And then another adventure fueled by brats and non-alcoholic beer. And he put this on TikTok and socials, and it's blowing up. And people are loving this all around the country, this very Wisconsin-focused stuff. Isn't that great?
First of all, he only stopped at Quick Trip. They have Gatorade at Quick Trip. I don't understand what's impressive about the Quick Trip part. Now, the brats and non-alcoholic beer, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's all great.
Yeah.
But here's
honestly, if some guy ran around the roundabout in my neighborhood 780 times, I'm not sure I wouldn't. I'd call the cops. I hate to be that guy. I hate to be like Derek Van Orton, but I'd be, get off my lawn.
But here's the really cool part, and the serious part. In 2018, and I can't say these words, not because they're bad, I just can't pronounce them. He says that he suffered a rare condition known as, I'll try it, central pontine melanosis, an impact in the brain stem from a rapid correction of sodium levels in his body. He lost nerve function in his arms, legs, and vocal cord, spent a month at physical rehab. He was discharged in a wheelchair and endured 6 months of physical therapy before he could run again. And if that isn't bad enough, he also suffers from avascular neurosis. Essentially, it's bone death at the hip end of his femur. It's already partially collapsed, but it probably is. He'll need a hip replacement at some point. But here's a guy who had all that happen, and instead of sitting around feeling sorry for himself, he said, "I'm gonna bring some awareness and have some fun with this." And he does all this on social media for fun, and I just think that's a great spirit to have.
Yeah, it's a good spirit to have. I still think, though, if you're his neighbor and the guy's running 700 times around your roundabout, you're thinking about getting out your shotgun.
Oh, my good Lord. Says, have you ever...
maybe not your shotgun, but I just...
When you go out there, you say, hey, what are you doing? And he's
like,
going to say, I'm running around 777
What are you doing?
times.
I'm running a marathon.
Right. For
It
awareness.
reminds me of a really off-colored joke that I can't tell.
Well,
on
don't
the air.
say it.
It's my sister.
He asks, have you ever crushed a donut mid-marathon or armed your watering pack with foamy beer? Well, on Memorial Day, Youngberg showed up at Menards in Waukesha, adorned in construction gear, preparing for his next 26.2-mile adventure up and down the sidewalk in front of the popular Wisconsin hardware store. He says, quote, I'm definitely open to ideas. I feel like I have an image for what I want to do, though. Before I'm open to too many ideas, I want to carve out my own lane as the channel, his YouTube channel, is growing. I want to stick to the ridiculous ideas that I have. How about
I have
that?
one for him.
What's
he
that?
should run around Lambeau Field the marathon number of times.
I like that. I like that a lot,
You
actually.
know, that big block just circles. Of course, he
Right.
couldn't have anybody videotape him because the Green Bay Packers won't allow it.
We
And
found
with
that
in
out the hard
background.
way.
We learned that the hard way.
Yeah, absolutely. What's
I
it's
might
it's
be an
it's
American-
coming
I
up on
may be an NFL owner, but I don't have enough shtick to get that taken care of.
Trevi could not get us on inside Lambeau. Very touchy about things up there. Let's see. Let's do this quick. 1 second. Tell us what's new with your family for 30 seconds. Why do this?
What's new with my family? Well, we're in the process of wrapping up the school year, which Wisconsinites are all probably going through. Although Wisconsin might be out. You know,
I believe
Virginia,
so.
they get out of school so
Some.
late. So
Like some
so
Madison. Good.
yeah, I mean, it's the end of the school year, right? So they're ready to be done. The teachers are ready to be done. So I don't even know why they're still going.
Has your daughter chosen a university yet? You've been on these university
No,
tours.
no. She's only a sophomore. We're gonna.
I know,
we're gonna
but I
do. We're planning on doing a little trip through. She likes the Big Ten ideas, and
Oh, nice.
she's a big fan of Wisconsin. She could be an intern on the
don't-
Todd Allbaugh show.
I don't know if
Hey,
we talked about this
absolutely.
last week since I wasn't here, but I hear that she has a pilot's license now.
Yeah, she does. She got her learner's permit, and she went over Memorial Day weekend flying. My wife went as the passenger. When she
That's
asked which
super
one of
cool.
us wanted to go, I said, you know what? I have like 2 million miles on United. Erica can do that. I don't like small planes.
I
You know that
you do
guy,
not.
the other Aaron Zommers that we had last week? The other
Yeah.
guy? Yeah.
The AI version.
The AI Aaron?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't as engaging as this one.
That's
are we
not
gonna
true.
play? Are we gonna get
Sam's
around
very
to this? Or are we gonna get around to this or
Yeah,
that?
all right. I
He
do
d-
because
the other guy didn't
All
get
right,
the
let's-
camel on
all
time.
right, let's-
Zommers never misses with the camel, and he always.
all right. Time once again.
He
for
knows
what's
what I'm
worse. Let's
talking
go.
about when I
Here
say,
we go.
are we playing this or that?
Let's go.
And of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Yes, time once again for What's Worse. Nothing to give away, no prize money involved, but it is your chance to have your voice heard all across the state of Wisconsin. All right, let's get to it. Category today from our wonderful writers, and boy, I don't know. I Trigby, this will resonate with you. The category today: What's worse, awake in the middle of the night or oversleeping? Awake in the middle of the night or oversleeping. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. You can also text us on the Civic Media app. Aaron watching us, not our own Aaron Zommers, another Aaron watching us on YouTube. We appreciate that, Aaron. Says, I love the show. Watching from South Milwaukee. Thanks, Aaron. We appreciate that. We did a show there last year with Kreitlow down in South Milwaukee at the high school down there. Great facility, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I keep
So what's-
waiting for us on this next tour. We've got to do it from somebody's backyard,
All right, well, we'll do that.
a listener's backyard. I wonder if
listener's
Aaron, the other
backyard.
Aaron would be willing to host us.
855
Aaron, we're a lot of fun, and we're even more fun if you had us in South Milwaukee.
Absolutely. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Awake in the middle of the night or oversleeping? What's worse? Trigby, about a minute left or so. Any thoughts on you're not
I
a
have
morning
thought.
person. Yeah.
This is why the name of the show should be not what's worse, but this or that, because this one actually is a three-part question: this or that or that. There is oversleeping, there is awake in the middle of the night, or there is I cannot fall asleep.
Well, okay, sure.
But
if
since
you-
I
if you
don't have
can't-
that option, oh man, both of
But if
these
you
are
can't
bad. But
fall
I
asleep,
oversleep all the time, and honestly, I don't really mind oversleeping because I'm a consultant. You got a problem, I got a plane to catch. So I would say awake in the middle of the night is worse.
That's right. Trigby Olson doesn't have a real job, so what does he care if he oversleeps? Except when we're on the road and we're waiting in the lobby at 9:30. Where's Trigby?
Yeah, that's true. The farm boy in Todd is up at 4 a.m. to milk the cows.
I wouldn't say I'm up at 4 a.m., but we got a schedule to keep. What's worse, awake in the middle of the night or oversleeping? 855-752-4842. Come on back. We'll discuss this, politics, and Pride Month and how it relates to the Packers. Stay with us. All right, Sean, last treatment.
It's time for Civic Media's
Oh no, somebody's got a question for me?
Yeah, somebody has a question.
No. That's not good.
No, it's fine. I think it's more of a political question.
Oh, okay. Well, that I can try.
Well, yeah, here's what Trigby texted me. I just saw it 14 minutes ago. Why isn't Zommers letting me in?
It was because I did not see you because StreamYard was glitching. Sorry about that.
It sounds like a text like a boyfriend would send to his girlfriend. Why aren't you letting me in? I'm at the front door. I love you. Why did you break up with me?
The hottest colors and mind-blowing designs are here for you to enjoy. Madison's favorite for glass gifts and vape. Ignite Glass and Gifts. Monona Drive, Williamson Street, and Urbana Road. Plus, IgniteGlassandGifts.com. Do your eyes a favor and see this stuff.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. In discussions over the so-called
Dan
bill
Schaefer.
backed by Donald Trump that's making its way through Congress.
I thought I was grabbing Nutter Butter peanut butter cookies out in the kitchen, and they look kind of the same, the packaging, and I grabbed the Ritz Bites cheese. So I thought I was expecting sweet. I put it in my mouth, and it was salty. Not the first time that happened.
But let's not forget the last time he was in a similar position. In 2017, he was a critic of the Trump tax cut bill.
Sometimes I just entertain myself.
Businesses, perhaps not coincidentally, businesses owned by his largest donors, Dick and Liz Uline.
All right, Zommers, you should play Let It Be by the Beatles.
In tax
Why?
Because of this bill.
Why? Because that's what AI Trigby said should be the song. I'm letting AI Trigby pick the songs today.
That could be a problem.
Why?
No, probably not.
Well, no, Let It Be is
all right, here we go.
Let
We've
It
decided.
Be.
All right, here we go.
Let It Be.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Little Beatles there. I'm telling you, I don't want to go into the whole. It's 23 minutes past the hour, by the way. Machines are going to be our downfall. AI is going to be our downfall. When we
I'm
let
telling you,
machines
the
start
AI
picking the
whiffed.
music.
AI Trigby whiffed on that one because I would have never
yes,
picked that.
100%. AI.
But I was telling you, I said to it, what should it play for the next one? And I'm pretty sure that like our regular listeners, including LA Tom, are going to be like, boy, AI Trigby hit Trigby on that one.
Real Trigby would have done a better job. All right,
No,
we're
the real Trigby, the next one is real Trigby.
All right. We're right in the middle of what's worse category today. Awake in the middle of the night or oversleeping. Awake in the middle of the night or oversleep. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Or you can text us on the Civic Media app. On the just download it and click on one of the stations and text us your thoughts. Or on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Aaron, watching us on YouTube, says awake in the middle of the night is worse when you know that you have to work at 6 a.m. Boy, howdy. I've been there before. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Off of the text line right now, we have Michael, who is listening to us on WMDX, but is in Tosa, says oversleeping is worse. That means you're late for something. Yeah, usually. I've certainly been there. Philip, listening to us in Beaver Dam on WMDX, up in the middle of the night. Ends up making you oversleep. Thank you, Philip. We appreciate your listenership. Diane, here in Madison, listening on WMDX, says awake in the middle of the night is worse. Thanks, Diane. Judy, in beautiful Lodi, Wisconsin, listening on MDX, says, I hate oversleeping because then I worry that I'll be late for work. It throws me off all day. Being awake in the middle of the night just means I'll be really tired, but I will at work. It doesn't matter during the weekend, only the work week. Judy from Lodi. And Conrad up in Green Bay. Is this our Conrad?
Sure is.
Conrad, the producer of Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, in which I will be appearing tonight at 7:20. I'm going to be given a Wisconsin quiz.
Is that so? Did you read his text?
Of which I do not know. Here, I was giving him props, and here it is. Conrad says, is it true that Todd will be joining Nightlight tonight at 7:20 to face off? I didn't know it was a contest against Pete in a very special Nightlight quiz. Now, that sounds like a show you wouldn't want to miss. Yes, with the shameless plug. Yes, it is. Now, I didn't know I was going to be pitted against Schwaba, but tune in tonight at 7:20. Schwaba will probably kick my posterior, but that's okay. What else we have here? Jason in West Dallas watching on YouTube says, awake at the middle of the night is worse. I have a hard time going back to sleep. That's Jason in West Dallas. And finally, Scott in beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin, home of your Green Bay Packers, of which Mr. Olson is an owner. On GBW says, oversleeping, unless it's your wedding day. I feel like there's a story there, Trigby. Like, oversleeping is worse unless it's, maybe he meant like the day after your wedding.
Who knows? Yeah. I don't know.
Because those are two very different things, right, Trigby?
100%. I'm not quite sure where he's going with that.
Did you guys have a big wedding? We've never talked about this.
Well, by Lithuanian standards, yeah, it was pretty big. We got married in Vilnius. It was kind of an event. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Press showed up. Seriously.
Press showed up.
Yeah, right. It was whatever. But yes, it was right by a medieval castle. It was very cool. Mm-hmm.
Wow, a medieval castle.
Mm-hmm.
Boy,
we had fireworks. If I'd have known how good, it was at a time in Lithuania where you could get really cool stuff for pretty reasonable amount. So fireworks. I had fireworks. Yeah, it was pretty cool. If I'd have known how good the fireworks were going to be, I'd have upped the budget line for fireworks. I like fireworks.
My sister, if I remember right, they had fireworks, a little fireworks thing at night at their wedding. So yeah, it's always
cool. Yeah, fireworks are cool.
They are. They're very cool. Matt listening to us in Middleton, one of our great folks out there. Matt's dad was called in yesterday. That was a lot of fun.
That's true. Yeah.
Matt says oversleeping is worse, as there are repercussions with work or missing an appointment, as awake at night can be fixed with some push-ups and a book.
Not a little winky face emoji.
And he gives a winky face at the end.
It was all innocent until there's the winky face.
That's right. All you need is a few push-ups and a book.
Yep,
and,
that's
that'll relax you and put you right to sleep. That's the best text of the day. I like that one a lot. All right, Zombers, awake in the middle of the night or oversleep?
I gotta say, oversleeping. I've had a problem with that. It's not as bad anymore, but that's mostly because I work later in the day, not because anything's actually changed.
That's true.
There were a couple times when I produced shows at 6 that I wake up and I'm like, wow, I feel unusually well rested. Oh crap, I see the sun. And it was not good.
Not good. Not good. I would say yes, the same thing for me. Oversleeping is worse because that generally means I'm late for something, either an early flight, or when I used to do sign-on shifts at RCO and Richland Center, there were a couple of times when it came pretty dang close to Todd not being on the air in time.
Right.
So, yeah.
As some people have said, if you are up late at night and you know you're not going to get sleep, you can still get to work. You'll be tired. Just drink some coffee and take a nap that day. You'll live, and you won't get fired.
And Trigby, you voted for what one again?
Awake in the middle of the night.
Yeah, awake in the middle of the night.
Because of his unique schedule.
Yes, because he doesn't care if he oversleeps.
No, that's not true.
What are they going to do, Todd?
I don't
what
like
are
it
they going to do?
I don't like it when I oversleep. But
It's one of my favorite lines from Trigby. What are they going to do, Todd? All right, come on back. We'll talk about some serious things. Trigby has a new Substack, which is exciting. And Vince Lombardi was one of the early champions of equal rights in the state of Wisconsin. We'll discuss that as well. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for Wednesday across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
New choice. Madison's real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
All right, very good.
So Real Trigby has a song?
Find the complete
Yeah,
Civic Media
on my way.
lineup at
Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue.
civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
When we are watching the crop markets, we are also always watching the weather. They tend to go hand in hand. I'm Ben Jarbo with the Midwest Farm Report.
Can I get
Market advisor
WRCE,
John
WRCO,
Heinberg
and
is
Prairie
here
du
with Total
Chien?
Farm Marketing
I'm
out
going
of West
camping this
Bend
weekend.
to
Dave,
tell
that's a
us
great
why the weather
question.
may be causing
We'll
market
answer it on
prices
the
to move
air unless you're
past
watching
planting
us on
season.
the stream here. The short answer is you could get RCO over the air on a good day. RCE you will not be able to get in Prairie du Chien over the air. But if you take your cell phone with you and you have cell service, you can download the Civic Media app and you can listen to either WRCO, the great country music station with our friend Phil Nee, and or WRCE, the talk news network, right on your Civic Media app. Great question. I appreciate it.
Once again, that's John Heinberg with Total Farm Marketing out of West Bend. We'll take a look at those closing markets coming up next.
Pancakes, potatoes, sausage, eggs, oh my. Come hungry to the Marquette County June Dairy Breakfast on Sunday, June 8th at Slowy Farms on
That's what we should do,
Avenue
Trigby. We
in
should do this.
Westfield.
We should do the
In
show
addition
from
to
a dairy breakfast.
Enjoy live music.
Aren't they like
art,
all
petting
weekends though?
zoo,
I know.
and
They're on
previews.
Saturday
You
usually.
can also try your luck
I mean,
at
we
bingo.
could do a live show on a
Maybe I was
Saturday.
going to say we should do a live
At
Saturday.
Slowy Farms
You know what we
on
could do? We
Evergreen
could do it.
Avenue in
When's
Westfield
Lyerly's
on
show? Is it the
June
morning or the
8th.
afternoon?
3
p.m.
3.
3 to 4. It's also pre-recorded.
Oh, well. We could do a live edition of Lyerly's show with Trigby and a dairy breakfast.
Business
Dairy
program
breakfast.
wants to
Dave in
rely
New Berlin
on
says,
working
I'm cheap,
folks
Todd.
like
I don't have a
you.
data plan.
Head to your
Oh,
local Can-Am
all right,
dealer to find out how
that's
you
fine.
can get extra coverage on top of the
I would
current
say
offers
then
on select Can-Am
in
Defender and
Prairie du
Outlander
Chien,
models.
unfortunately,
If
you're
you've
not
had
going to
your
be
eye on a
able
new
to
Can-Am
listen to
ATV or
the
side-by-side,
News Talk
now's the
Network
time to get
RCE over the
yours.
air
Visit
unless you
your
have a
local
really,
Can-Am
really
dealer
great
today
antenna.
and add a true
You want to
game
listen on the
changer to
FM
your
side,
roster.
107.7. You could try it.
Details.
Otherwise, you might be able to get
Welcome back,
RCO,
everyone. I'm
again,
Ben
depending
Jarbo
upon where
with
you're
the
at.
Midwest Farm
Because what
Report.
happens
And now
is
let's see how
the
the markets
Prairie du
look
Chien
on the
radio
close
station,
this
which is not
Wednesday.
part of Civic,
It is a tale of two
that
swords today, with
signal will
cash
kind
going
of
up a
drown
quarter
out
of
the
a penny
RCO
at
signal
4.38
right in Prairie du
3
Chien.
quarters, and new
But you can give it a
crop corn
try.
up 5 1/4
Come on,
cents
growth
Oh my
at
gosh.
43
Wild
3
Lucian
quarters.
State Park, that's where you're
Cash
going, Dave?
soybeans
I
up
love that
4 1/4
place.
at
Yeah, send us a
10.45,
picture.
with new
Yeah,
Have
growth
fun.
mindset. The Prairie du Chien station is not part of Civic yet.
Oh, jeez.
July
Don't
No,
say
I know.
that.
I shouldn't say
We-
that. I
we
shouldn't put
are
that
not-
out into the universe.
We are not the Russians. We're not trying to take people over.
Today with
You
July
know?
contracts down
No.
33 cents at 18.89 a hundredweight, and August contracts down 19 cents at 19.11 a hundredweight. 40-pound blocks did not see any movement today, sitting at 193 3/4. And butter closed up 6 cents at 2.56. With a look at your closing markets from the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Ben Jarbo.
Doesn't that guy have a great voice?
Ben Jarbo?
Especially for doing the farm report.
Anytime. Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
We are going to have a little more of that Canadian wildfire smoke in the air into this afternoon, but it's actually going to get better here later today and into later this week. Sky will clear out high in the mid to upper 70s today. Tonight, clear.
We
low
also had
50s
that person
tomorrow.
earlier who said,
Mostly sunny
what's
with
worse
a
is
high
Joni
in the
Ernst.
upper 70s.
Oh, yeah,
I'm here
we
on with
gotta-
Sean Cable.
we'll
Temperature
do-
now
we'll say that.
73.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Teachers are
Yeah.
dynamic leaders
Like,
shaping a
what's
new
that?
generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse
Something I can't say on the radio,
backgrounds.
but I
They
will
teach
say
to
here,
prepare students
she's
for
a
our
dick.
fast-changing world. They're
can say
still
that.
experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org. Supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Michael Negron of the Small Business Majority.
The Trump administration thinks that they're doing solid for small business with their policies. And so having business owners out there
30
talking
seconds.
about
Thank
how,
you.
whether it's tariffs.
decide at the right time, at the right moment, when Trigby flies into the Twin Cities and drives over the St. Croix Bridge into Wisconsin, that'll be blaring out of his windows as he comes into Wisconsin.
100%. 100%.
Joining us from his the Tony suburbs of Arlington in our nation's capital, Trigby Olson, the senior advisor. I knew that would make him upset. The senior advisor of the Lincoln Project, a former Republican like myself, and a good old Wisconsin boy like me as well. Trigby, we'll turn it to a little bit to a more of a serious note here. Lots of politics to get to. Just a quick one. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but one of our listeners wanted you to comment. We talked about this when it happened here a couple of days ago. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst over the weekend held some sort of a town hall. I guess give her a little bit of credit for facing the public. Sean, this is from Sean in Richland Center, one of our great listeners on WRCE, says he says, I still say Joni Ernst is worse as far as what's worse. Love to hear Trigby's thoughts. So those that don't know, Joni Ernst, U.S. Senator from Iowa, Republican, holds a town hall and talking about the budget going through Congress right now. And someone yells out, because of these cuts in Medicaid, Medicare, people are going to die. And Joni Ernst very matter-of-factly says, well, look, we're all going to die. And then, to make matters worse, she films a quote-unquote apology in a cemetery in which she condescendingly says, oh, I really apologize for telling people that we're going to die. I'm glad I didn't have to address the tooth fairy. And then goes on to bring in her faith in a weird way as well. What was your take on this, Trigby?
Well,
lean forward if you can.
It's kind of right up there, honestly. Like her response on that. First of all, she's standing there taking a selfie with her phone, going on and on about overstating the obvious. And I posted on my Substack, which is free and always will be, and I guess you get what you pay for in terms of Substack.
It's good stuff.
Mine. But yeah, thanks. I posted after Biden announced he had cancer, where there were all these people that were like saying awful things about it. It's like, where is the humanity in all of this? Mm-hmm. Like how have we gotten to a place that there are people, a man says he has stage 9 or like 9 out of 10, prostate
on the
cancer,
PSA
and people
scale,
are not being
4.
nice about it. And
right.
Joni Ernst, somebody asked a question out of concern, a constituent, and she gives a dumb answer, and then she doubles down on it. Like I don't know, and I know Joni a little bit. She's not a bad person, but this is what crazy does. It leads to more crazy.
And where's her staff? Crazy. I mean, we're both former congressional staffers. Where's the staff? I mean, that whole thing in the cemetery, that was not random. They planned that. No, I mean, who on the staff says, yeah, Senator, that'll be great? Isn't anybody saying, Senator, this is a bad idea?
Yeah, I don't know. No, you would
It's
think.
Weird.
Like, I don't know who came up with that.
Yeah. 855-752-4842. Ollie in the North Woods. Ollie, always a pleasure to have you call in. You had a question for Trigby.
Yes, I do. Well, I'll start with Trigby's question. I would like to know if he is planning on joining the June 6th United for Veterans rally in Washington, D.C.
That's a good question.
It's a bipartisan rally.
I think I might. I did recently, I think their veterans leader, it's Dan Barkoff's group. I did his podcast recently and he was talking about it. I need to go back. To be honest, it isn't, I knew that it's happening. I don't know a lot of details, but I think it would be a good thing. I probably will try and take my daughters down to it if we can.
I hope so, and I hope that to get the word out for everybody, I heard they are going to be doing some live streaming of the event, and I hope that will be available, but you can look it up on the Google.
Exactly. Well, I can shoot Dan. I need to shoot Dan, and I can shoot Dan a text and see. But I know they're in the middle of it, and I think it will be a pretty big event. The the of course, then the other thing that's coming up is the parade, the Trump parade.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
that's
gotta
why
say, I'm trying to get. I'm
that's
going to
why
try
I'm
and get out
hoping-
of Dodge for that.
Well, that's why I'm hoping that this parade will be bigger than Trump's parade, and that this protest, and it coincides with the D-Day commemoration on the 6th.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good thing to support our veterans who have given
100%.
so much and are getting so little.
Yeah, really,
Well-
really well said, Ollie.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you so much for calling in and talking about this. 855-752-4842. Our friend Troy out in Mount Horeb calling in. Troy had a question or a comment about Senator Ernst from Iowa.
Do you really think she has people telling her no for anything?
Good question.
Just like Trump, get rid of the people who would tell me this is a bad idea and I'm going to do whatever I want.
That's actually a great question because Trigby and I have both been legislative, state, and federal staffers, and I don't know, Trigby, how people you worked for, but the people I worked for generally like to have at least a couple of people on staff who would really be honest, not in public, but in the car or behind closed doors, and say, look, this. I'm going to argue why you shouldn't say this or why you shouldn't do this. Is that even a thing anymore?
Well, I mean, typically successful politicians have people who can tell them no and who can go to them and say, be checks on. Listen, all of us do stupid stuff at different times, right? And you want to have people who are going to tell you, maybe you need to think about it. You're going to pause and think. And, part of being in leadership is sometimes you have to do things that other people maybe are not advising you to do. But in Ernst's case with that, I mean, I don't know who came up with it on her staff. I don't know who probably said, when you're digging a hole, stop, don't grab a shovel and keep digging. She grabbed a shovel and kept digging. And, as I say, having met her on a few occasions and having talked to her, she's not a bad person, but I just think this is what crazy does. It just leads to more crazy. And so it may be that she doesn't have anybody that's telling her that, or it may be that she really wants to be in the U.S. Senate or Secretary of Defense or whatever, and she's willing to,
I think we had a story. I don't want to go through this all again, but just really quickly, we got a story yesterday where this guy who's an immigrant, there's questions whether he's documented or not in Milwaukee. He was arrested for allegedly threatening Trump's life with a letter. Turns out it was a guy who assaulted him who is in jail that set him up. And then Kristi Noem says on the same day they found out this guy was set up, she posts the guy's picture and says, well, this is the person that tried to kill Trump. And none of it was true. And to your point, Trigby, I think it's taking the crazy from the top, the Trump craziness, and everybody underneath him in his administration, in the Republican Party, they look at that and say, oh, that's the way to win elections. That's the way to get, the base riled up, is to do this crazy stuff. I think it starts with Trump.
I think a lot of it does. I talk about that in one of the Substack posts too that I've seen around the world, right? It's normalization of what, and it's why character matters so much. In fact, that post I did yesterday was character's the first thing to go and the last thing that matters. And the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, when you're looking at who you're going to vote for or who you're going to let into your life, the first and most important thing is character. Because, it's why it matters more than policy. It matters more than, anything else. Is it somebody whose character you can trust? And I just think normalizing bad behavior, normalizing bad character, normalizing grift and whataboutism is just, it's on the rise. And So then you have people who are, look at Lindsey Graham, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure if McCain were still around, he'd be like, I don't even recognize this guy. But that's what this stuff does. It infects.
I was going to say, it's like an infection, physically in our bodies. We're talking with Trygve Olsen, senior advisor at the Lincoln Project. Check out his new Substack. Zommers was so kind to put it up there again. You can check out his great work there, Trygve Olsen. That's Try, G as in George, V as in Victor, E, Olsen with an O-N, .substack.com, TrygveOlsen.substack.com. What you got a couple minutes left here before the break, Trygve. What made you want to do this? And is there a theme in these Substack posts?
I didn't want to do it. The only reason that I avoided it at all costs, and I had people saying, "Oh, you got to get on Substack." I'm like, the reason I did it is because I kept getting asked to do these Substack lives, and to do a Substack live, you have to be on Substack, which is pretty smart, interesting business model by Substack. So, yeah, I promised some people that I would do that, so I had to get on Substack, and then I was like, well, if I'm going to be on Substack, I guess I got to produce some things. And I was thinking about it. There's so many people on Substack that are all about the outrage machine, and honestly, it's like Fox News or any of the outrage. It's easy to have a business model that's based on just agitating and trying to rev
hate
people
and fear
up. It's
and,
what
yeah,
Donald
right.
Trump
Right.
fear, like whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I called my Substack Searching for Hope, and every day I write about democracy or about things from my life. I called it Searching for Hope because Vilta, who was my first daughter, who was stillborn, she'd have been 19 this year. Her name means hope for the future in Lithuanian. And I thought, well, we all need some hope at a time when fear is on the rise. So I wrote this first post, and crazily enough, I had about, 200 people. I posted it on Facebook and said to my peeps back in Wisconsin that I was doing this. I had like 200 of them sign up for it. And then I was like, well, now I'm stuck. I've got to write these things. So I started writing every day, and, now I've got 1,000 people who are doing it. And I discovered that you can look at who are the people that are following you. And I'm like, now I've got all these prominent people. So I was like, and average people and all these people back home. And so I'm like, all right, well, if people are interested in what I'm saying, I guess I'll use that as a voice. As I said, a lot of people are using it as a business model. I'm not charging anybody, nor will I ever charge people, because a lot of what I write about is my experiences with people who are literally, living in places where they don't have the right to vote and freedom and all these things. And like, why would I want to profit off of that?
Yeah.
And
Again, check it out, TrygveOlsen.substack.com. I love the fact you can bring awareness and motivate people with hope, instead of just rattling people's cages every day. I love that. I absolutely love it. Come on back. We will talk Packers, Pride, and Trygve Olsen. It's the Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Just set me free. Home, sweet home.
As a fish fry on a Friday night.
Okay.
This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Not sure what that one means, but okay.
What happened?
Somebody is sending. We get voice notes now through the app. Somebody, I have an inkling, but I don't know, is sending a bunch of clips from like movies or shows or vines and stuff that are just completely off the wall.
Yeah, not good.
Customer service, we have received the People's Choice Award as Madison area's best greenhouse.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see that there are people who are like, wow,
I invite you
some
out
good
to
news.
see why we are not only
Right,
the
yeah.
area's largest greenhouse, but also the best.
and I am really happy about all the
Aspect
people
has
back home
landed.
who are
That's right.
signing up.
Madison's go-to cannabis
To
destination.
be honest,
now
that
with a
means
brand new
more to me
location
than
in Sun
like
Prairie.
famous people who
Four
signed up.
locations. That's a high level of convenience. With
As
3
you
Madison
know.
locations and now Sun Prairie, a great
100%.
cannabis experience is always close
Your
by.
ego's
Our
like,
expert
oh, that's
staff is
cool.
here to help, whether you walk
So
in,
and so
call,
signed
or
up,
order
but the
online.
people who really
Mention
matter a
Radio
lot is all
420
my high
and get
school
a special
classmates who I'm
discount.
like,
So stop
wow, I
by
can't
Herbal
believe they're reading
Aspect
it
and
every
Sun
day.
Prairie,
It makes
because
me
great
have hope.
cannabis isn't just a pipe dream. Nice.
John, where did you get that clip from?
The Lombardi.
No
Yep.
more damage.
All right,
No
cool.
more slipping and hurting. Make your ordinary bathroom extraordinary for only $99 per month.
Can
New
we have
shower,
Silent
new door,
Lucidity
new
by
tub,
Queensryche?
New wall, new anti-slip technology.
What?
BCI bath and
Yeah,
shower
Silent
is made
Lucidity
in America
by
for the highest
Queensryche.
quality.
That's a great
First 50 callers
I
save
can't believe how smart
$1,500
AI
on a never
Trivia
clear
is.
glass treated door. BCI bath and shower.
That wasn't AI
Free
Trivia.
financing
Todd
options.
Allbaugh.
800-329-4115. 800-329-4115. 800
It's searching the web.
4115.
Everybody wants the same thing from their mattress. A good night's rest, am I right? You need someone to listen to what you want and who knows the materials that will get you there. At Verlo, we're your friendly neighborhood mattress genius. American made, locally crafted. Welcome to Verlo.
Wherever you are in Wisconsin, there's a free and confidential Aging and Disability Resource Center, ADRC, or Tribal Partner Agency. We're here for older adults, adults with disabilities, and your families. ADRCs are a bridge to support for benefits and financial assistance, transportation, in-home care, and more. Get to know your local ADRC and connect with resources today.
Understood.
Call toll-free
That's on me.
1-844
You're right.
ADRC, or go to findmyadrc.org.
Todd, do you want that song, or should we use Bang Your Drum?
Yes, I want Silent Lucidity.
Registration is open for Camp
Oh,
Walker
use what?
Summer Break at
The usual song is Bang Your Drum on the way out for this thing.
Oh, well, I don't want to
Yeah.
interrupt your usual.
All right. Well,
bang
next time.
drum.
Next,
I
we'll
forget
do it.
that I'm not in my
Yeah.
normal time.
Right. I'll keep that written down for next time.
You're in another hour.
Oh, Lord, it's hard to be
Nature
humble.
and Wildlife Camp, bird and plant identification, monitoring nests, wildlife games, service, art projects, and
30
more.
seconds.
Details at giveshelter.org/wildside.
Being blind doesn't.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock at the top of the hour, ABC and CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to across the network. Little weather check for you. Brittany Merlot apparently under the weather, sending out warm wishes to her. Brittany, feel better soon. One of our great meteorologists, other ones, will fill you in on the weather. And then our fantastic sports reporter, Mr. Mike Clemens, will be along with a sports report. And then stay tuned, Maggie Dawn across the state of Wisconsin. The Maggie Dawn Show every afternoon 4 until 6. And then at 6 o'clock, it's the Schwabinator, Pete Schwaba, and Nightlight from 6 until 8. Going to be a great time. I'm going to be on the show, always excited when I get to be on Nightlight at 7:20 tonight. And Pete and I thought this was just a quiz I was going to take, but apparently it is a Pete versus Todd Wisconsin-based quiz. I'm looking forward to it. Nervous anticipation. So listen tonight, Pete Schwaba from 6 until 8. Right now we have Trygve Olsen, Senior Advisor at the Lincoln Project with us. Enough of politics for today, Trygve. Well, I guess it kind of ties in. You're a Green Bay Packer owner, one of a few, and it happens to be Pride Month. I have what I consider one of my favorite Pride Month t-shirts. This is when I worked back at LL Bean. It's kind of their logo in different colors. It's classy, in my opinion. So I enjoy that. It's Pride Month.
I thought it's a nice shirt, Todd.
It is.
Exactly, classy.
It was made specifically for Pride Month back at LL Bean.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So one of the things I think that gets overlooked, Joe from Madison talked about this a few weeks ago on the show. But here now, according to NFL Films, is not according to, it is a clip from the late great coach of the Packers, Vince Lombardi. Maybe a lot of people don't know this, but he actually fought for gay players like Ray McDonald to be treated as equals, was an early advocate and ally. Here is Coach Lombardi on what he thinks of equality.
It's lesser known about Vince Lombardi. For his era, he was well ahead of the national norm on racial tolerance, tolerance on gender issues, lifestyle issues. If you could play and play his way, he wouldn't care if you were green or what you did in your private life. The bloody baptism of America's gay rights movement took place in June of 1969 during New York's Stonewall riots, reflecting the nation's hostile environment towards people like Washington fullback Ray McDonald.
Correctly, in a Look magazine article, you said that if you had a chance, you would have picked Ray McDonald the year that the Redskins picked him. Is that correct?
That is correct. I can say in retrospect now that Ray McDonald was the #1 pick on our draft list.
And Lombardi, when he came, understood that Ray McDonald was gay. And Lombardi wanted to give him every benefit of the doubt and every chance, and said to one of his assistant coaches, George Dixon, if I find any coach challenging McDonald's manhood, they'll be fired immediately.
Well, I think in that regard, my dad was a little bit ahead of his time in that his brother Harold was gay. So I think he had an open mind.
That, according to NFL Films, a clip there from one of their profile pieces. Trigby, I just love the fact that Lombardi didn't make a huge deal out of it. It was just like, look, you're a Packer first, and anybody who picks on him, I don't care whether it's gay or being a black person, they're out of here. I'm just not going to tolerate it. And it's simple, it's straightforward, and I love his attitude on it.
I mean, it's the attitude that we should all live with, right? Like, I mean, people spend too much time digging and caring about what other people are doing with their lives. Like, I'm very libertarian in that way, I think. I don't know. I just think, I don't know why we've gotten that way. I mean, has it always been that way? I guess, you know, I think about that a lot, right, Todd? Because, you know, you get all these people who cite we the people. We the people, we the people, you know, like Derek Van Oddone, Scott Walker, Badger Boys State Walker, right? But the truth of the matter is it's in order to form a more perfect union. It's an ongoing endeavor, and I don't understand this. People spending all this time scrutinizing everybody else and why we've gotten that way. Just live
agree.
your life.
I want to go to the phone lines quickly, about a minute and a half left here, but Joe, who originally brought this up on the show, is calling in. Joe, thanks for listening, and thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this up again. I think it's a Wisconsin story that can't be repeated enough for us to understand where we come from. I mean, one of our greatest heroes is somebody, an ordinary guy, Italian-American out of New York City, who experienced great discrimination at that time when he was growing up simply by being an Italian-American. And his love for his brother is part of what propelled him to understand what it was like for gay people and the enormous difficulties they went through. What he did was that he was more than a football coach. He was also a civil rights leader in our state. You know, he led the right to have fair housing. He worked with Father Grappi out of Milwaukee for that. And he challenged the business owners in Green Bay to say, if you don't seat my black players, my white players are not going to be coming to your restaurant, to your hotel. It was, you know, back in the early 60s, he was pushing this in Green Bay. Right. This is a leader. This is us. And we can look to this history with great pride and use it as we propel ourselves forward. Thanks a lot for bringing it up again, Todd. It can't be told enough.
Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate it. And again, Joe was one of the person that brought it up originally. But again, Trigby, we go all over the state with this show. Once again, as if we needed more reasons, part of what makes Vince Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers, part of what makes Wisconsin great.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, think about Vince Lombardi, how Catholic he was, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That should be an inspiration for everybody.
It really should. Even though now the Pope is a Bears fan.
What's that about?
What's that about? Trivia Kid, thank you for making time for us today. Also, Pat Kreitlow, listen to him every morning, 6 until 9. And Parker Olson as well. Zomer's doing a great job as always. And all of you for listening. Maggie Dawn is next. Todd Allbaugh, say whatever you're fighting for, whatever you are fighting for or working towards or
whatever you believe in.
That's right. It's the meds. Keep banging your drum. Where's the Kleenex, Zombers? We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. I say it every day from memory, and suddenly it disappears.
Well, goodbye, everybody on the stream.
Yeah, I promise I'm not that bad off.
No.
See you later.